Goat James Kingdom.
All right,
He said
we
hello.
live now. So whenever you ready,
What's
let
good,
me.
folks? You still got some things up. What's good, folks? We live and ready to go here. This is Goat James Kingdom talk show with B Lee and Ajani. We got another great show for you. We're just getting everything put together for everybody as we gonna break down the ESPN NBA top 75 greatest teams. Uh, Players by comparison. We're gonna take their stats. We're gonna explain everything here. So we'll let some folks get on and we'll get some folks in while B Lee getting everything together. But thanks for joining us. As we always go live every Sunday noon Eastern Standard Time on the Lord's Day.
All right, so hold up. So what we're gonna start off first is we just gonna watch one of
Ric Buecher was
our
saying how
YouTube
LeBron
videos.
cannot.
So let me go ahead and share that for you guys.
Yeah. Got some Facebook folks.
All right, let me go ahead and start it. So all right, here we go.
Not be the GOAT because he didn't dominate a statistical category like, say, for instance, Steph did in the 3 pointers, Michael Jordan did in scoring, Bill Russell did in rebounds, Kareem. I don't know what he think he would dominate. I'm guessing scoring. I'm not sure, but he said LeBron cannot be the GOAT, and he believes Ray Allen criteria is what we should use in the GOAT debate. So let's listen to what he actually said.
I think it's an interesting one because what he's suggesting is how can you be the greatest of all time if you didn't dominate in any one particular thing at any particular time? And I'm going to push.
So if we want to just look at what LeBron dominated, because he said LeBron could not dominate, LeBron has scored 30,000 points, 10,000 rebounds, and 10,000 assists. I don't know how that's not dominated. But LeBron has, yes, he only led the league once in scoring and once in assists because he does so many different things. He doesn't do one thing. He's never led the league in field goal attempts. Jordan did that 10 times. Jordan has 10 scoring titles. You can see why. And if that's not playing for stats, I don't know why he's shooting so much if he's not wanting to score. Makes no sense. LeBron has also led the postseason in scoring 6 times, and he's the all-time postseason leading scorer. LeBron has led the postseason in assists 6 times, and he's the second all-time leading assister in the playoffs. He's led the postseason in steals 4 times, and he's the all-time leader in steals in the postseason. And now LeBron is in the top 10 in the postseason in points, assists, steals, blocks, and rebounds. So not only is he top 10 in all those categories, but he's also has the second most triple doubles in postseason. Also, LeBron leads the regular season and the postseason in value over replacement player. I talked about this a few times. Value over replacement player means that that person on the court exhibit a certain amount of positivity in the box score. And so when LeBron's on the court, his team improves by a certain amount of points. And he's the leader in the regular season and in the postseason. Also to note, LeBron is one of 3 players to have 10,000 rebounds, 2,000 steals, and 1,000 blocks in the regular season. The other two are Karl Malone and Hakeem Olajuwon.
LeBron James is about to enter his 20th season. He has 1 assist title and 1 scoring title to his name. Those are the only 2 things that he has done in any one season where he dominated a particular statistical category.
Now Ric Buecher is talking about how LeBron only got 1 assist title and 1 scoring title, and how that is not dominating, and how this is another thing to disqualify him in the GOAT debate. But as we look at his career, okay, he does so many more things in the box score than just field goal attempts that he fills up everything. So That's why he has 37,000 points, 10,000 rebounds, and 10,000 assists. Name another player that has done that. Maybe there's a reason why he is the only one. There's not another player with 10,000 points, 10,000 rebounds, and 10,000 assists. LeBron has 37,000 points. What are we doing here? What are we actually doing here? What are we talking about?
But the idea that LeBron James never demonstrated dominance in any one particular area of the game, and how that might undermine the argument to suggest that he could be the greatest of all time, I think is a fair argument to make.
Now Ric Buecher is going about how, he, again, the same thing. He does not dominate a statistical category, so he cannot be in the GOAT debate. I'm just trying to figure out why 37,000 points, 10,000 rebounds, and 10,000 assists is not dominating. I'm trying to understand how this even makes sense to anybody. This is what we do to LeBron. We discredit his every move. And this is another person in the media, the old media, who continues to disrespect and discredit what LeBron has done better and more than anybody in league history.
Do you know who the all-time leader in turnovers in the league is? It's LeBron James. And it's by a lot. By the time he's done, he may put that number in a place where nobody is ever going to touch it. And
now Ric Buecher is talking about LeBron has the most turnovers and all this yada, yada, yada. All of a sudden, these totals matter. But when LeBron totals is bring up in the GOAT debate, it's a problem. But yeah, his turnovers matter. He has the most. Ignoring that, Magic Johnson averaged more turnovers than LeBron James. Isaiah Thomas averaged more turnovers than LeBron James. But we want to add totals in now to amplify the discredit of LeBron James. You need to make up your mind. Are you going to use totals or averages? Because this does not make sense. The media just jumps around from averages to totals any way possible to discredit what LeBron has done. They use everything at their disposal, and no one's going to call them out for it.
the case that I hear for LeBron James and where he stands among the all-time greats is always invariably a statistical one. And whether it's consistency, it's longevity, whatever it is. And I think what Ray is pointing to, which I think is a fair thing to point to, is, okay, is it a longevity award? Are your numbers impressive because of how long you've been doing it for how many consecutive years? And does that qualify as greatness?
Now he's going back to longevity and how that does not state that you're the greatest at anything. Longevity is not greatness. All of a sudden, no one really said anything about Kobe and Kareem playing these years. The only knock on Karl Malone was he didn't win an NBA title. So now LeBron James has been doing stuff more than LeBron averaged 30 points a game at 21 and 30 points a game at 37. Now that's a knock because he's just doing it for this long period of time. But if Michael Jordan averaged 20 points at 40 years old, this is a amazing feat that someone is doing this. You know, longevity, he passed Karl Malone, yada, yada, yada. Did you know that LeBron did it in 100 fewer or less games than Karl Malone? LeBron has averaged 27 points a game his whole career in his year 19. He has been steady at this one place. It's consistency. Consistency for 19 years. Michael Jordan could barely do it for 10 years. But LeBron James gets discredit for being so good, working on his craft so much, excelling at a high rate than anyone. They expect LeBron in year 19 to win an NBA title, and in year 14, they just expect Michael Jordan to make a layup.
It's a good one, man. That's a good one, bro. That's a good one.
Hating Ric Buecher for you.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I mean, you know, to be honest with you, you should have told me you were doing this because I would have gave you some actual extra material. Because if I'm correct, did he say about dominate? Right? How come?
LeBron he never dominated any.
He never
dominated category.
Okay. Who is on quote unquote the most dominant player in our era that we've ever seen? That everybody said they've ever seen?
It's either Will or Shaq, one of the
Okay,
two.
Wilt or Shaq, right? Just nobody's seen Wilt, so most of us ain't seen Wilt. So they usually say Shaq, right? Well,
Yep.
how come Shaq never averaged 30 points per game in a career, nor did Shaq average or never led the league in rebounding ever or blocks?
Well, they only led the league in scoring twice. Once.
I believe once he almost won it the second time, but I think David Robinson beat him out. Wasn't or did he win it? Did he win it in 95 and 2000?
I know he won it in the 90s. I forgot which year it was. Like his third year or something.
But that's only 2 statistical awards. But he's considered the most dominant player in NBA that we've ever seen in NBA history. You see what I'm saying? Like it's crazy how they defeat their own argument just to try to throw shade on LeBron. The guy that came on our show said the same thing, right? Like LeBron does all of these things, but he doesn't have no hardware. Like he doesn't have those statistical awards. He doesn't have more assist titles, or he doesn't have more rebounding titles. It's like he just does enough to be good, but not to be the best at it, which is so funny. Like I said, I don't know why they, again, they got to talk about something, and LeBron's the easiest thing to talk about. So I don't.
Yeah, he's the easiest target to knock. The easiest NBA history to knock, and I don't know why, and I don't know how.
I mean, and then for him to say the only argument you have is statistics for LeBron, as if statistics don't matter. I don't get how you just eliminate stats.
My thing, if stats didn't matter, Robert Horry and Steve Kerr would have been first ballot Hall of Famers. Apparently, stats matter. Apparently, what John Stockton did on the court matters. Apparently, what Tracy McGrady did on the court matters. Karl Malone. Stats matter more than everything. Just like T-Mac said, anybody can win a title, but who could average 30 points in a game in a season? Who could average 10 assists in a season?
Everybody but the people in the 90s.
I mean, this is ridiculous. This all of a sudden stats don't matter until you bring up someone without stats, and then stats matter.
And then and that's why we're going to do the stats comparison, because I'm a stats guy. I love stats. And it's funny because in every sports we go by stats, right? Because even if we go by football, no one knows who's the number one rusher of all time as far as per game, or what the actual number is.
No one does per game in football.
That's baseball. What I'm saying. Everything in football is done, even for the seasonal, right? It's always the quarterback threw for 4,000 yards, the quarterback threw for 5,000 yards, he ran for 1,000, he caught for 1,000. It was always a total number. But it's not like it diminishes the per game, but it's just that nobody ever diminished the totals. Totals have always been a thing. In baseball, it's 500 home runs.
I mean, who goes home runs per season, or who goes passing yards
wins per season, right? Pitchers wins per season. This is usually
strikeouts per season. I mean, it's always game. Total. Yeah, it's total hits, total strikeouts, total home runs, total bases stolen.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, football, total everything, total interceptions. We don't go interceptions by game, interceptions by year.
Yeah, they don't do touchdowns by game. They says, this guy had 15 total touchdowns this year or whatever.
We changed all the narrative because of one statistic, one stat, points per game. One statistic we changed.
But see that's the thing, and of course that's a great accomplishment, right? But we all know, the more you play, the different the stats can become, So
look at Vince Carter. Vince Carter was a 25-point scorer, until later in his career when he took a role. Yeah, like that's the role he took.
Well, Jordan was close to 32 points per game, I think, before he went to Washington. I think he was like at 31.
To come back so he could score 30 points a game. I mean, 30,000 points, so he could pass Wilt Chamberlain.
But that's another thing too, right? Because this is why we're going to do the comparison statistically, right? Because they like to make it seem like Michael Jordan statistically, though, is that much greater than beyond just LeBron James or just all other players, and they try to make it seem like LeBron's statistics are only those statistics because of longevity, and we're going to see, when we do this the comparison, that a lot of that is false. So
people won't want to knock us because we say, LeBron totals are more. But, when we look at Jordan totals are very high. Jordan advanced stats are very high. Like, they don't understand that. They just think just because LeBron has a edge on something that, Jordan, didn't play long enough. Jordan totals are very high. Jordan averages are very high. Jordan advanced stats are very high. LeBron and Jordan like 1 and 2 in advanced stats for a reason.
Yep, and a lot of stuff. Yeah, and a lot of things.
These totals is just for points. This averages is just for points. That's all they care about. There's nothing else about the game. Jordan averaged more blocks a game, more steals per game, but LeBron has more. So it's
he didn't even average more blocks per game, but he averaged more steals, more points.
I think they about the same blocks per game.
It's 0.8. It's 0.8.
Yeah, but like still like he averages more. So
he
it's
averages
not like
more if you don't round it up. If we don't do all
if
the
you don't
rounding,
round it, he got like a few percentage points, and that's because LeBron later in his career averaged less blocks because he's playing longer.
Well, and obviously, the longer you play, the less productive you're going to be on defense. You're not going to be as quick and agile, and as it just doesn't work the way. I had somebody arguing me about how Kareem could have won Defensive Player of the Year, and I'm like, yo, he's not in his prime in 83, 84, 85, and even the statistics show that his numbers as far as rebounding and blocking went down as of 81. From there on out, it just kept going down. He doesn't have the agility and the ability to play defense the way he used to. If you would say in the 70s. So he can still score because that's just putting the ball in the hoop, but playing defense is another factor. So and all the videos they show about LeBron being horrible on defense is all the last year or two. Nothing.
Yeah, like when we bring up Jordan year 14 and 15 when everyone knew he was past his prime, it's a problem because he's older. But you do the same thing to LeBron. It is fair game. Yeah, just like when I posted, LeBron and Jordan in year 14 and 15, it's a problem. But when we post LeBron and Jordan in year 1 and 2, when LeBron's a teenager, it's fair game. Compared to someone who had 3 years college experience, Olympic experience, coached by Dean Smith, compared to someone coming straight out of a small high school,
a private high school.
Yeah.
Like an academy of some sort, with a coach that probably makes less than, probably makes 6 figures, but maybe less.
Well, at that time, he probably wasn't making that much in 2002.
Yeah. So, but again, it's like I tell people, man. They tell me I'm obsessed, but I tell them y'all the ones who are obsessed because all we want to do is just represent LeBron James correctly. We just get tired of hearing all the the narratives that are just fake lies, like Ric Buecher going up there and just spitting up a bunch of narratives. Like without any understanding, so you just eliminated Shaq. Shaq is not dominant at all. He ain't dominant in nothing. 2 scoring titles is not dominant. If LeBron's 1 scoring title and 1 assist title is not dominant in anything, then Shaq's 2.
Yeah, someone said like a private school that was playing on a national schedule because of LeBron.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's a private school though. It's an academy. I mean, it was like Tracy McGrady played for that team in Mount Zion.
But certain schools are popular, but LeBron James school is not.
I mean, but I'm from Florida, and there's the team. What's it called? St. Thomas Aquinas. They get players from all over the state and down here, and Chris Carter,
certain private school, of course, but
isn't that what? That wasn't one of those. No, they wasn't one of those schools.
No,
I thought they was. I guess LeBron made them that.
I mean, you can't even name another player on that team.
I can't name really no high school players, to be honest with you, bro. I don't.
Yeah, I'm just saying like a famous basketball player on that team because they all was from Columbus.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, basketball is definitely different than what it was, as far as amateur, because now these kids are prepped for being pros very early.
Yeah,
freshman.
It's different, but we're talking about like in 2000, 2001, St. Mary's. It was completely different than what it is now with all the charter schools and players coming from all over the state just to participate. But in that time, that wasn't the case. It was just a private school in Columbus.
Yeah, we should do a show on the high school players that came into the league, starting from Garnett. I mean, I guess we can start with Moses Malone, but that was in the ABA. Nobody likes to count the ABA. But we should do that and see where they, as teenage players that played as teenagers at 18 and 19 years old, what their stats were like and how they, what they did is productive and where they started from and what teams they were on. Because, They like make fun of LeBron for averaging 20 points, or was it 21, 22 points per game his first year?
Yeah. I mean, that's the highest for any teenager.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, people don't really understand how young he was when he came into the game. 18-year-old first game, 25, 9, and 6. They can't comprehend that he was a teenager.
Yeah, they can't.
With no, there's so much of a different pace from high school to college that people don't understand. It's a completely different pace. He jumped right into the NBA. That's why no other high school player has been as productive as LeBron, because it's a huge pace. The pace is so big. And LeBron, being as athletic as he was, somehow could keep up with these NBA stars.
And the international players, which ones came in at 18 and 19 years old? Like Luka and who else?
Luka came in at 19.
But he wasn't starting, right?
I believe he was starting. Like he came in like prepared.
He came in prepared, right? But he was like one of the few, though. Like that's what I'm saying. Like he was one of the few that came in that as a team. That's what I'm saying. We should do a show on that. We should really try to do that one day.
Yeah,
and look up on the team players.
Well, we should just do it all on like teenagers as well, instead of, because some players come in at 19 and they still don't have any professional experience.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 18 and 19-year-olds. Yeah. A teenage comparison to see how they fare out.
Luka actually had an advantage because he was playing against pros in that pace.
Yeah, he was.
Better pace than college. So
yeah, the professional international circuit is really good.
All right, you're ready to start your stuff?
Yeah, we can get going. Right. Let's get to it. Get them angry. So all right, so we're gonna do a similar contest like we did with your contest when we did the playoff success. So we're gonna do this though with the statistics on these players for their careers. So what I did was I had already did a comparison for LeBron versus the top 75 players listed. ESPN has their list, and on the ESPN list, the top 10 list is Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kareem, Magic, Wilt, Russell, Bird, Duncan, Oscar, and Kobe. So Shaq's 11th, and then we added Curry as a bonus because everybody loves to put Curry in front of LeBron after winning the title. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove LeBron out of this top 10. So Shaq will be in the top 10, and LeBron will compete statistically against all these guys starting from Curry on up. And we'll do just like how you did with the round robin. And, once you lose twice, that's it. And then we'll reorder everybody from the statistical ranking that we go by. So as far as the stats go, we go by 39 different categories. 33 of them are statistical categories alone. They're either per game average, totals for the regular season or playoffs. And then we also added 4 advanced stats, which are basically advanced stats that determine game impact as a player. And then we also added 6 accolades to this, which are the most important accolades that everybody talk about, which is the winning the title, the MVP, the finals MVP, making the All-Star game, and being on the All-NBA or All-Defensive team. As far as the players who like Wilt, Oscar, and Bill, because there's no three-point line and there wasn't blocks and steals when they're played, their comparison list is going to be different. It's going to be lowered to 27 categories because I also removed finals MVP and all defensive team from their categories as well. So they'll be anybody who goes up against those 3 players will have to go up against 27 categories. Everybody else is doing 39. So we're going to start off with the first, player, which would be LeBron. It should be Curry.
No, okay, I got it.
You got Curry.
I don't. Let me see. I got him. The other.
Yeah, you put Curry. Yeah. But yeah, so the Curry's a bonus. I think Curry's like 15th or 16th on the ESPN list.
He's 16.
He's 16. Okay, so but obviously, if we look at it here, it's no comparison. LeBron's stats are just way greater than him. Even the accolades, they don't match. Basically, LeBron beats Curry. basically 33-5. Curry's only better than LeBron in free throw percentage and 3-point percentage, and he has LeBron by steals by a 0.1. That's really it. After that, LeBron has every statistical category, an accolade. I'm sorry, they also tied for championship, so it's actually 32-5. I'm sorry, 33-5 LeBron and 1 tie against Stephen Curry. So Stephen Curry loses his first one, so we move on to the next one, which should be Shaq.
No, it's Kobe.
Shaq is before Kobe because Shaq is 11th. Shaq should be 10th. But we'll do Kobe because it falls in the same way because basically Kobe.
I took the wrong one. You took the ESPN top 10.
Okay. Yeah, I did the ESPN top 10 first, and then.
Okay.
So obviously he goes up against Shaq because Shaq is number 10 right on the list because we took LeBron out of the list. And when you go up against Shaq actually gave LeBron a good challenge. The difference between Shaq and LeBron was 28-10 and 1 tie. Obviously, Shaq's going to have the rebounding and blocks, but LeBron got the everything else. Shaq had a good career. I think Shaq played 17 years, if I'm correct. So he has
18 years.
18 years.
Mm-hmm.
So longevity should matter for Shaq. He doesn't have 30,000 points playing 18 years. We talk about being dominant. Shaq should have 30,000 points if he's played 18 seasons, and he's supposed to be one of the most dominant players ever, right? Shaq don't even have that. So LeBron beats him, so Shaq gets knocked out for the first one, and then now we do Kobe. And then if we look at Kobe, it's actually worse for Kobe than it was against Shaq because LeBron beats him 34-5, hands down. The only thing Kobe has LeBron in is in all defensive teams, one more title, and free throw shooting. That's really it. Like, I don't, the argument about how Kobe's better than LeBron is all based on personal preference and subjectiveness. It's
eye
not
test.
Huh?
The eye test, toolbox.
Tenacity, killer instincts, nothing that could be measured on here because obviously everything that we just mentioned, all those terms, none of it show up here on the statistics. None of it. So I don't know where you get those information from. So Kobe gets knocked back. So that's Kobe. Kobe's gone. Now it's Oscar, which is funny because they got Oscar in the top 10 during the 75 list. But when ESPN did their list before this,
well, the other 10 lists they did before, he's not even nowhere near the top 10.
He's not even in the top 10 at all. But because Oscar played in the era where there was no 3-point shooters or no 3-point line, and he also played in the era where they didn't add the blocks and steals to 74, which was his last year. We're not going to include that. So they only played. I only put him up against 27 different categories, and against Oscar, LeBron, kind of annihilated him 22-4 with 1 tie. But Oscar Robertson, to be honest with you, is actually the one player that actually compares to LeBron James. If they compare LeBron to Pippen, they compare LeBron to Magic, but the real player that really sits like LeBron is Oscar. If you look at the numbers, almost 26 points per game, 9.5 assists, 7.5 rebounds, shoots about 48% from the field. He's a good free throw shooter. And if they probably had blocks and steals, he probably would have a bunch of steals on his resume.
Yeah, that's Wilt and Bill Russell. They would have averaged.
Forget about those two.
Quadruple doubles every game. Like they would have destroyed the record book even more.
Yeah, but when you look at Oscar and LeBron, if you compare them two right there, as you can see, Oscar got more assists per game in the free throws. LeBron just has the points per game, but they average the same amount of rebounds per game. And Oscar was a guard. He was 6'5", I think, or 6'6". I believe he was 6'5".
He was 6'5".
He was 6'5". So, Oscar is definitely the player that is really slept on. I mean, I really think a lot of people don't, he won assist titles, scoring titles.
He just didn't win.
Yeah, he just didn't win.
Yes, and he won
a hard era.
Career.
Yeah, and a hard era. Remember, he played in the real big man era. So, but he loses obviously 22-4 to LeBron. So we'll go to the next one, which is
Duncan.
Tim Duncan. Yeah. So now Tim Duncan has an illustrious career, accolades wise. He has more championships than LeBron. He has more all defensive teams than LeBron. But Tim Duncan's a man. But between Tim Duncan and LeBron, it's 26-13. LeBron got him double as far as all the stats and accolades, as you can see. Tim Duncan's another guy, played 20 years. And as you can see, LeBron's still able to dominate in the totals. Even though Tim Duncan's totals are good. Like you said, these guys, it's not like their totals are horrible. They're just not where LeBron's is at. You know what I'm saying? But LeBron always going to have the assists and the steals. He shoots better from the free throw line. I never hear nobody ever talk about Tim Duncan's free throw. That's kind of horrible for 68.9 and shooting 70% for his career. But big men usually get a pass for free throw shooting. But as you can see, LeBron beats him too. So, we're going down the list. LeBron statistically is better than all these guys. The next guy on the list is Bird, which is another player that people love to say LeBron is not better than, and Bird has the killer instincts and the tenacity and the will to win. Bird has only 3 all-defensive selections, but never is considered somebody who doesn't play defense or can't play defense. But, him and LeBron went up against one another, and in those 39 categories, LeBron has 30. Bird only has 7. They have 2 ties because of blocks per game. They actually average the same blocks per game in the playoffs and in the regular season. And then, obviously, LeBron's going to beat him because of the totals. Bird didn't get a chance to play that long. Injuries kind of got to Bird playing in the rough 80s and playing all those long seasons, caught up to him late in his career. And obviously, he probably wasn't taking care of himself as he should. There's supposed to be reports of him drinking beers before games at halftime, whatever.
Yeah. I was surprised he played 15 seasons with a bad back, not taking care like an athlete would today.
Yeah, I mean, he was still making the playoffs in the 90s.
Still averaging 20.
Yeah, so he, again, Bird is, Bird is the man. Both of us agree that Bird is the man. But up to LeBron, it doesn't matter. LeBron's the GOAT. Let's go to the next one. The next one should be Russell. And this one is not a surprise because most people know Russell's not known for any statistical category, although he's a great rebounder. But obviously LeBron has him in every statistical category. So against Russell, it's 21-6 LeBron. And what I did with the legends of the 60s, like Russell, Wilt, and Oscar, I didn't have all these stats are coming from basketballreference.com. So they didn't have the VORP for these players, nor did they have
started 73.
Yeah, nor did they have the box plus minus. So I added the true shooting percentage and I added win shares per 48 to even out the 4 statistical advanced stats that we put into this comparison. But LeBron beats Bill Russell. We all know Bill Russell's the greatest winner, probably the greatest defender ever. But statistically, he's not up there with the best of them. So LeBron beats him. That's LeBron got 21 and only 6 for Russell, which is all basically the championships in rebounding and the one MVP that he has over LeBron. So after that, we'll go to Wilt. Yeah. Now Wilt was also a tough one because, Wilt rebounding and points and his field goal percentage actually beat out LeBron. But Wilt didn't have the illustrious career that LeBron had. But, he does beat LeBron out in win shares per 48, which is something that Jordan fans love to talk about. But, he doesn't have enough MVP. He actually has the same MVPs as LeBron, but he doesn't have enough titles, the all-NBA, the all-defensive team. So between Wilt and LeBron, it's 18-8 and 1 tie. That 1 tie, I believe, is I can't find it right now, but yes, it's in the MVPs. They both have 4 MVPs. So, Wilt Chamberlain statistically doesn't compare to LeBron. LeBron beats him there. Let's go to the next guy, which would be Magic, which is the one that they love to compare LeBron to. Obviously Magic is one of the greatest passers ever, if not the greatest point guard of all time. We both agree on that. But statistically, him and LeBron actually battled out kind of well. But it's still 28-11. LeBron, Magic had the steals and assists, but LeBron has rebounds and the points. LeBron has all the, the playoffs, the wins. all of that counts, as we all state. You guys can see all the statistics that I put up there. So LeBron beats Magic. Magic gets knocked out. That's another one. So we'll go from there, and now we'll go to Kareem, which is what happened here?
I don't. Maybe. Did you send me a blank one?
I don't have a blank one. Oh wow.
That's the one that went on there.
Oh wow, that's the one that ended up on there. Well, obviously, it's a technical difficulty we have here, but between Kareem and LeBron, it was actually a close one. It's 21-17 and one tie for LeBron and Kareem.
Let me. I guess two of them went there, so let me
see.
share my screen so I could show the other one.
Oh, you have the other one.
There we go.
Okay, so there you go. All right. So as you can see, Kareem played 20 years, illustrious NBA career, and even in the totals, with the amount he actually been in more playoffs than LeBron. He played more seasons than LeBron. He's played more games than LeBron. But LeBron still has totals that can compete with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And this is what LeBron's basically chasing. When they say LeBron's chasing somebody, he's chasing this guy's longevity. He still has to get one more All-Star that Kareem has 19 of. LeBron's still trying to chase everything else as far as the numbers, the totals. We know he's only 1,200, 1,300 points away there, but it's still LeBron edges Kareem 21-17, and so Kareem has 17 points against LeBron. And then we'll do the final one, which is Michael Jordan. If you could pull that one up. All right, so we have MJ now. This is the one that get them all upset because they want to add everything. It's never fair with Michael. But between Michael and LeBron, the statistical category is 24-13 and two ties. Obviously, the two ties is in block per game. Jordan fans are upset. They say that we should just go by average, right? Even if we do the average, LeBron still has the rebounds per game, the assists per game, the field goal percentage, the 3-point shooting. He has the win shares. He has the VORP. LeBron has just the stats to compete with Jordan. And the idea that LeBron's not dominant is ridiculous. 25 points per game, 18 straight seasons. No one's done that. He has 18 All-Stars, 18 All-NBAs, which is more than Jordan. Jordan has the rest of the accolades, but that's it. Jordan scores 13 points. So if we go to the end and we tally up everybody's points and we do the reorder again, this would be the new order. Against LeBron, we had Kareem scoring 17, Jordan scoring 13, Duncan 13. You guys see it. Magic 11, Shaq 10, Wilt had 8, Bird had 7. Russell had 6, and then Kobe had 5 with Curry, and then Oscar had 4. So if we reordered the shuffle, the line, this is what it would be. But then, we're going to do it again. So now we go on. Oscar would go up against Curry because Oscar's at the end, but, Curry loses that one, 15-12. And then we put Big O against Kobe. I know a lot of Kobe fans, want to talk, but Big O actually beat Kobe out 15-11. And categories. Remember, we're doing 27 categories when it comes to Oscar Robinson and Wilt and Russell. So Bill Russell and Oscar Robinson goes up against one another, and Oscar actually beats him. So Oscar continues to move up the ladder. Then he goes up against Bird, and finally Bird eliminates him. And Bird has 16-9 over Oscar. And then we put Bird up against Wilt. Wilt beats Bird 14-12, and then we get the big ultimate, the big, comparison between Wilt Chamberlain and Shaquille O'Neal, and Shaq actually outbeat him 14-13 when we compare both their stats and accolades together. So Shaq moves on, Wilt moves back, and then we have Shaq versus Magic. Shaq beats Magic 22-16. Now we go back to the full plethora of the stats that are available. So Shaq beats Magic 22-16. Then we have Duncan versus Shaq, and Duncan actually beats Shaq quite handily. Again, Duncan's the man. We all know that. And then you have Michael Jordan versus Duncan, which Michael Jordan beats Duncan 23-16. And then Kareem goes up against Mike, but he beats Mike 20-18. So when we do that and we shuffle everything at the end, and we compare everybody statistically, the number one statistical player of the NBA 70-15 would be LeBron James. Then it would be Kareem at 2, Jordan at 3, Duncan at 4, Shaq at 5, Magic at 6, Wilt at 7, Bird at 8, Oscar Robinson at 9, Russell at 10, Kobe 11th, and the bonus guy would be at the end at 12. So Kobe actually gets knocked out of the top 10 when we do this statistical category the way we did it against LeBron James. So again, I don't know what Ric Buecher was talking about statistically when it comes to LeBron and not having dominant. I don't know what they talking about, but again, we all gonna know they're gonna say it's longevity, it's longevity, it's longevity. I mean, I don't know.
Bobby Marks saying that Curry's better than LeBron.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, but if you really look at it, I know Jordan fans would say, well, look, Jordan is third and he only played 15 seasons. The other guys there all had, like Shaq played 18, Duncan 20, Kareem 20, LeBron 19 seasons. And, who sits in the center of all of that? Michael Jordan with his 15. But my response to that would be, well, Jordan wins a lot of that because of points per game and the actual per game average. If Jordan adds another 200-300 games, he probably doesn't average as much as he averaged in points and all of the rebounds and assists. Probably goes down a little bit, but that's another argument that I'll say I'm just hating on. But these are the statistical guys. When we did the playoff success, LeBron was second behind Russell, and now LeBron's number one when it comes to stats. So a lot of these guys are hating on LeBron, man, but at the end of the day, it's going to be hard to keep this hate up. You guys are going to continue to get exposed, especially with us showing y'all how great LeBron is. They don't want to accept it, man. They just don't want to accept it.
Yeah, and then talking about Jordan averages 5 out of the last 6 years, he averaged less than 30. So it wasn't like he was just averaging 35 points a game. Like they started to decrease as he got older.
And he started winning as it decreased. He actually wasn't winning at his highest points per game average or his best statistical years.
Yeah, all of his advanced stats were higher when he wasn't winning. His PER, everything was higher. Value over replacement, game score, everything was higher when he was not winning than when he started to play more of a team ball. Things went down. Then when he got older, less athletic, things went down even more.
Yeah, I mean, again, he's great because he was still shooting well, shooting above 45%, 46%, 47%, in those years.
Yeah, his percentage went down a lot to like Kobe percentage.
Yeah, but see, again, if he plays 94, he plays 95, he plays 99 throughout till he retires. He does those full 4 years. And has that 19-year career. His totals will be up there. He probably would start beating a lot of people in totals, and he probably would be statistically the greatest. It wouldn't be because of per game average, though. It would probably be because of his totals. You know what I'm saying? But that's why you have to count everything. You can't just make it about per game average. Because if we do that, there's a reason why there's a minimum. Because I think even when you look at the Basketball Reference, there's a criteria that they put for all the stats that they show. And they tell you how many games you have to have, a certain amount of games played or a certain amount of minutes played to be counted for certain things. So playing the games matter, playing longer matters, playing more game matter is an achievement. Kareem playing 1,500 games, I think that's what it is, or something like that.
1,560.
You know what I'm saying? That's a lot, bro. You gotta give that's 500 more games than what Wilt Chamberlain played. I think Wilt Chamberlain.
That's not even counting the postseason games. He played a ton of those.
Exactly. I think he's second behind LeBron. So, Tim Duncan's another one. But like I said, the shocker of this is Kobe being 11th. I don't know how it would be if we didn't compare them. First of all, compare them off of the ESPN top 10, right? Because that's what we're doing. That's how the matchups are going compared to where they're ranked on the ESPN top 10. Where would Kobe rank if we really did do a just a more generic competition where they didn't, we didn't go by, like if we just did, I guess, a round robin tournament type thing, where Kobe would land then. But that also would depend on seeding too, because if he ends up going up against Oscar Robinson and Bird, he's going to lose. But could he beat some of these other guys in statistics? I don't know. I don't think Kobe has enough stats to beat some of these guys.
Yeah, that's the thing, because Kobe was so good, but he didn't focus on the other things. He focused on scoring most of the time. So that's why his stats are not going to be nowhere near Bird, who focused on more than just scoring. Yeah. While he was scoring a lot. See, exactly. That's the thing.
That's
he
true.
Averaged,
yeah.
He averaged, I'm pretty sure he averaged more steals, assists, and rebounds than Kobe. Shot higher percentage.
All of that. Actually,
so I'm pretty sure he did.
He did. He actually did. I was actually looking at the numbers because, I told you my brother completely disagrees with us putting Bird in the top 5. And, what's his name? Foxworth went on TV the other day talking about how Kevin Durant would rock or destroy Larry Bird and these guys.
Because, like I told you in like high school, I thought Bird was trash. Like, there's no way on earth someone would tell me that Bird was as good as people were saying. But then I had to watch the guy. Bird was amazing.
Yeah, listen, Bird was...
And he's big. He's a big guy. He's not a little small guy. The dude is literally 6'10". He's huge.
Oh, my God. Listen, I'm from Haitian. I have a Haitian background. So, most of my uncles, come from New York, so they're some basketball fans. But I had an uncle that was not really into basketball. But when Bird retired, I remember him saying that. He's like, "Oh my God, Larry Bird is retiring from basketball." I remember that day, he was watching. I remember him, being at his house, and he was like, "Oh my God," and he had to watch the press conference because it went live. That's how important Larry Bird was. And at that time, I was like, 12, 13 years old. So, but I do remember that. Like, I do remember him saying that, like, "Oh man, this guy retired. It's not going to be the same anymore." Because he was beloved. If anybody was more beloved than Jordan, it probably would have been Bird. At least back then. So that's how it is, man.
Bird was cold.
Bird was cold. So let's see what these comments are saying here. Yeah. Oscar is slept on. Oscar is definitely slept on. Yeah, man. But see, that's another thing. He said when you adjust Wilt's scoring numbers to pace, I guess that's what he was talking about there.
It's not 25.
No, it's not 25.
I never even really paid attention to that.
What, Bird?
No, the pace for Wilt. I think he's talking about Wilt scoring.
Yeah, I've heard somebody say that if the pace, if it was the 90s pace, which is the slowest pace in NBA history, I think he would have scored 68 points instead of 100. But I don't like doing that. That's retarded. Like, that's like, so what you're trying to say is that at Jordan's pace, if we gave the pace of the 60s, Jordan's averaging 45 points per game in the 60s, like that doesn't equate. Like, that's just like, the pace just helps you understand how many shots they take per game and per possession. Like, come on, like, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't factor in all the other stuff that, like to say, like, add context, rule changes and you know what I'm saying, skill level and all the other factors that come into it. Because, like I tell people, Wilt Chamberlain wasn't allowed to just back down people and just dunk over them. He had to literally have more skills. He had to do a fadeaway. He had to, that's why the hook shot was invented. That's why Kareem had a hook shot. You don't think Kareem just didn't want to dunk over people? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, and like I said, all this talk about Shaq. Shaq only averages like 23 points per game for his career. Never averaged 30. Never was a rebounding leader. Never was the block leader. All this dominance. Shaq was the biggest player, the biggest player we've ever seen, and he couldn't dominate. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So. And now he did dominate in the finals. If we give Shaq that, context does need to be applied. Exactly. But if we go to Shaq's finals numbers, I think Shaq probably has the best finals numbers of all.
His finals numbers are amazing. Like, his game score is off the chart.
I mean, who was the center for the Nets? Was it Collins? Didn't they have?
No, it wasn't. I don't think it was Collins at that moment. I don't even think he was in the league yet.
Yeah, I know Rick Smits was very skilled, right? But Smits was not a physical.
He was nowhere near Shaq's
Yeah,
physicality.
yeah,
So
and
the teams he played in the finals was a lot less than what he played in the West. Just like with Jordan, the teams he played in the East was better than the West. That's why he didn't really have a problem with the Western teams. Then they said the same thing about LeBron. So it's rare that you're gonna face great teams in the conference and then in the finals.
it's all mute, man, because I posted recently. I've been posting stuff about that, right? It's like it's all myth, it's all lies. Okay, LeBron James eliminated the same amount of top 75 players Jordan did in his career, right? And he's faced them more than Jordan faced the ones that he played up against. LeBron's faced teams that had 3 or 4 top 75 players on a roster. Jordan's never beaten a team like that. He's faced them, but he's never beaten a team like that. If we go to the I don't know if you have the ones that I posted recently, but
no, I don't have the ones, but I got like the first ballot
yeah,
Hall
the
of
first
Famers.
ballot Hall of Famers. You know what I'm saying? That just playing against teams that had 4 All-Stars, 3 All-Stars. LeBron's faced more of those teams. Even when we did when I was obviously the post that I posted about the first 5 postseasons. Now when I did the one for the first 3 the first 5 seasons, so LeBron only had 3 playoffs. When I counted the players in those 3 playoffs compared to the Jordan 5 playoffs, it was 16 All-Stars, 8 All-NBA and 8 All-Defensive players for LeBron. And in the 5 playoffs, Jordan had 16 All-Stars. He had 7 All-NBAs and 9 All-Defensive players. So in more, obviously in more playoffs, he faced the same amount that LeBron faced in less playoffs. So they talk a lot about like the Washington team and the New Jersey team that he beat, and they act like those teams were not good. Washington wasn't good when Jordan was on it, but they were good when they had
Washington was pretty good. They had Gilbert Arenas on that squad.
But even if we want to say, well, they were the 7th seed or the 8th seed, is it LeBron's fault that LeBron was able to win during the regular season and Jordan couldn't win in the regular season? Why was Jordan the 8th seed all those years?
Yeah, why was he playing Boston?
Yeah,
why
exactly.
Was he playing the Bucks?
Why couldn't he win more in the regular season to allow him to be a 4th seed, a 3rd seed, or a 5th seed, so that he didn't have to see those teams, in the first round? You know what I'm saying? But they don't like to talk about it like that. It's all not now. That's becoming hate. Now you're just hating. So it's all myths. That's why we're here to expose them, man. I'm the exposer. Y'all see this face? Look at me. I don't play with y'all. I expose y'all. Y'all don't even want to come on the show. And y'all commenting right now on my Facebook page and my Facebook post, but y'all don't come on the show and talk because y'all cowards.
It's a lot easier to post hate.
And no, it's easy to hide in the comments. Yeah. It's easy to hide in the comments because once we record you saying something stupid and I make a video of you saying something dumb like we've had before, you ever notice that's why they stopped showing up on the show, because we kept exposing the stupid shit that they say, because nobody reads the comments.
Yeah, if you're gonna comment, at least comment something productive, add to the to the debate. Don't just comment stupid hate stuff.
Oh, but we already know what's going to happen. We expose them, and it's going to result to 6-0. Going to result to all-star hell. It's going to result to the last post season not making the playoffs. It's the same stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They just be saying stuff on TikTok on the comments. But that's the thing. Who's really reading your comments? How many times are you going in a post and reading each comment one by one? You don't do that. So the only person who's seeing you talk is either the person you're trying to communicate with. And if people like me and you, right, we post stuff all the time. I get a bunch of notifications. There's times I don't see people that actually mention me or even comment on the post.
It's hard. It's hard when we run a group, because just like I'm pretty sure just like we get 100 tags a day, 100 plus mentions a day, and it's hard to respond to all of those throughout the day. But now we got reinforcements setting the record straight.
They done messed up. They done
we
fucked up.
already got back up now. We got back up to set people straight now. When you start hating with the same stupid argument over and over again, you're gonna get called out from it.
Yep. So as we said before, the arguments that can't be used, that had actually that you can use them, but they've been exposed, is obviously the finals records, the accolades, the competition. Those things have been exposed. We've destroyed those narratives. We've literally, and Brandon's bringing them up. I mean, we've had material for days, bro, when it comes to this type of stuff. And no matter how much help you say LeBron had, he had to face more people than Jordan. And we still showed that Jordan had more help than LeBron, if we really want to count what real help is, which is all NBA players and all defensive players, not all stars.
Especially compared to the time Jordan played in. With the time Jordan played in, the help he had was outweighing what he was playing against. He always had the best team when he was winning. I know people like to talk how Scottie Pippen wasn't all this great, but when you pull up his
90s numbers, put up his 90s. Yeah, exactly. When you put up his 90s stats and his 90s accolades, Scottie Pippen is beyond.
Look at that.
Yeah, Scottie Pippen is beyond. And that's on Jordan's team. Even if y'all want to say Barkley's better than him or Stockton was better than him, he's still in the top 10 of that era. Still. And I say he's top 5 of the 90s. I'm not saying top 5 as far as the greatest players, because obviously in their career, Shaq's better in his career. Maybe even Stockton's better in his career. But like we said, it's who Jordan had to face. Jordan had to face who? Patrick Ewing by himself. Charles Barkley by himself. You had Shaq and Penny. You had Karl Malone and Stockton, but he also added Rodman and Kukoc for that. So it wasn't like he just went up against those two with just him and Pippen.
And this was when Karl Malone at that time period was still dominant, but Stockton was not. Stockton was not as dominant as he was at 36 years old. He just was not.
And you're right. And I mean, the craziest thing about Karl is Karl was all NBA first team the whole 90s.
Amazing.
Every year.
Have we ever seen anything like that before?
I don't think so. I mean,
I don't think there's another player who's been all NBA first team for a decade straight. Decade.
I don't know. I don't even think LeBron has. And LeBron has 13. So I don't even know if LeBron has. I think LeBron has I don't know. Maybe LeBron has. Maybe LeBron's done it.
He don't have it for a decade straight.
For 10 years straight? No,
because in 2019 he got third team because he got hurt when he went to the Lakers. So he got 9 straight.
Oh, he got 9 straight.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So you have that, but then but they don't count that unless they, like the argument now is, because I even proved it today, right? Because they were talking about, around the time LeBron won the champion, was winning in Cleveland, not the second stint, the first stint, that he was facing nobody, right? So I showed how the Western Conference around that time was really just the Lakers and Spurs. Like literally, the Lakers and Spurs represented that conference 11 of the 12
like in that
finals.
Decade. The second best team was the third best team was the Suns.
Maybe the Suns and maybe the Mavs, if you want to do that. That's really it. And then the teams that ended up losing in the conference finals those years to like the Lakers or the Spurs were either Phoenix, Portland, Denver once, the Mavs, but they didn't have but if you go to the East, there were 9 different teams that represented the East in the finals that time. 3 of them won championships, more than the West, which was only the Lakers and Spurs. Now, granted, the Lakers and Spurs dominated that era, but they don't represent the entire Western Conference. And then they bring up the all NBAs when it comes to that, because there was a lot more NBAs during those eras in the West and in the East. And I'm like, oh, now all NBA matters, right? Now being on all NBA team and being all defensive team matters. It's not just about all stars.
It's not about all stars no more.
Yeah, it's not about all stars anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because it's obviously the equal amount of all stars, 12 on each side every year. So you see what I'm saying? But the idea that 2 teams actually represent the whole conference to make the conference more dominant than the other conference, when the East had 9 teams throughout that era that were able to be the best teams in their comp. That's real comp. Like, you have to really go up against, you never know who's going to be the best team this year. You know what I'm saying? But you just got to beat the Lakers or the Spurs. That's comp. and majority of them weren't doing it. So Yeah, man. So, but like I said, it's always fun talking basketball like this because the numbers speak for themselves. They always speak for themselves. That is just ridiculous. Pull up your because we were talking about before you started the show, you were talking about Ric Buecher talking about being great at something, and Ray Allen. Do you have the Ray Allen post here about him talking about the
But I
only
got the one with
the
Bobby
graph?
Marks.
You got the yeah. Pull up the graph. Yeah, the one. You have that one?
Oh no, the graph. Let me
Yeah,
pull
no.
up the graph.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The graph. You know,
Let me get that graph.
you see here. It says here, look, the East playoffs throughout 11 through 18 were 500 against Western teams. That's not bad. Yeah, right here. Right? So they were talking about being great at something. Let's just go down the line. Okay, what was Jordan great at? Well, if we could just say these were the categories Jordan was great at, what would we say that would be?
Well, from what Ray Allen stated.
It's not none of the stuff that Ray Allen. Well, yeah, none of the stuff Ray Allen stated. He's not great at any one of those.
No, he's not that great. Well, this is what we said about Ray Allen, but just about Jordan. He was great. Stealing the ball.
So he's great on a perimeter defense and great scorer.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So then that's what we got about that. Now LeBron, what we can say LeBron's great at. He's a great scorer. Right. And I mean, like you said, 10,000 rebounds, 10,000 assists. That's not considered great.
Yeah. Then he's one of 3 players with 2,000 blocks. 2,000 steals and 1,000 blocks.
Yeah. And only him and Oscar Robertson actually averaged over 25 points and 7 rebounds and 7 assists.
Yeah.
For their career. So if that's not considered great, I don't know what is. Now,
that's why he's the greatest all-around player of all time. That's what everyone says about him.
Now, as far as defense, would we say LeBron plays great defense?
In his prime, he was a great defender.
I would say yes. He has 6 all defensive selections.
Yeah,
that's top 5.
Prime, he was great.
That's top 5. So that's top 5. Okay,
yeah,
folks.
People want to talk about LeBron outside of his prime.
5. Yeah. Six all defensive selections is top 5 in NBA history, folks. Okay, there's a lot of players in that 5, but he's in that 5. So that makes him great. All right, so we got Kobe. What is Kobe great at?
Scoring.
You think so? 25 points is making
he's great at scoring.
Yeah, he's a great scorer.
If you're talking about career-wise, he's like top 10, top 12, but in his prime, he was one of the best of all time.
All right, so what about defense? He has the 12 all defensive selections. Is he overrated? Would you say it's overrated, or is he actually a great defender?
Well, the coaches thought he was.
And that's why I would say he's a great defender, because I'm not gonna lie, because the all defensive team, the coaches said, listen, when Kobe's playing my guy, it's tough.
It's different.
Yeah, it's different. I seen a video of I think it was the 2011 Olympic team that he was on with them, or the 2012 team, and they were showing how he stripped Kyrie 6 times in a row. In practice. Kyrie couldn't believe it. And they thought, it was like, why is this? Obviously it was like, that's Kobe. Kobe brings the intensity, like they said, the toolbox. And he stripped Kyrie 6 times in a row. Literally, Kyrie couldn't dribble the ball. Kyrie couldn't put the ball on the ground. And then we talking about Kyrie Irving here too. He was doing that to Kyrie. Now, granted, Kyrie was a rookie, a teenager, but still, Kobe was on him. You know what I'm saying? Like Kobe was, and he was really doing it at ease too. It was really weird.
I'm pretty sure it's a lot different just playing one-on-one than playing in a real game, because you can't do that in a real game. You get called for a foul.
Yeah, there were some points where he was kind of reaching, but it was kind of clean though. It was kind of clean. But they show. I saw one where they showed, because he challenged Kobe that summer, one-on-one,
in the Olympics,
and then Kobe played him that year and rocked him and really kind of shut him down. Okay, so we got Magic next, right? So what's Magic great at? Passing, leadership, getting women.
What I was looking at? Magic was a really good free throw shooter. I didn't know he was that good of a free throw shooter. He was.
Oh, he was. What's his stats?
He's like 85%.
85%.
Yeah, he was pretty good free throw shooter. I didn't know that.
That's good. I mean, you
Yeah.
shoot, and listen, if you shoot 85, above 80, you're good. If you get above 85, around 87, 88%, you're actually great. If you're in the 90s, you're really, really great. So, I mean, that's what Bird would be, right? We know Bird's a great shooter. Bird's a great passer. Even with 6.3 assists, it's what people don't understand is that he doesn't have the usage of a point guard. So to have 6.5 assists as a small forward, power forward is a lot. So that means he was really dishing out some good passes. What about Kevin Durant? What is Kevin Durant great at? Shooting and scoring only?
Yeah, I mean he's really good at threes. I would think he would be better at threes the way he could shoot, but he's not like on a Curry and Clay level. But he's still to me he's still top 5 three-point shooter of all time. But just looking at his stats, I would think that his percentage will be higher. But I think a lot of that is when he gets tired.
Mm-hmm.
For me, Kevin Durant gets tired more than he should with as less body weight he has on him. Like in the playoffs, you could see that his field goal percentage dips a lot later in the series because he's getting tired.
Yeah. Well, I mean, teams do rough him up, right? They put their biggest defender on him most of the times. He does get roughed up. Maybe that's his issue. Maybe he, that does wear you down.
Yeah, it wears him down. That's why he, hasn't really like with Golden State. It was different because he didn't have to face that competition. That's why his field goal percentage with Golden State was so high. 3-point percentage was so high. But when he's leading the team and he has to do more, it affects his legs.
Yeah, exactly. I was just thinking about his legs, him not having the leg strength. Because, he's scrawny as ever. That guy is scrawny. God, I thought I had some skinny legs, but he's scrawny. All right, so we got Joe Johnson. Oh, you done started something with that Joe Johnson.
Yeah, I just put that in a pistol ball. But of all the shooting guards, he's good at everything. He's not great at everything, but if you want to add a shooting guard in there, because it's all point guards.
I guess the thing with people like Joe Johnson, right? Because he has all the skills, right? The man can shoot. He has all the moves. He can attack the basket. He can shoot. He can pull up. He can catch and shoot. He can break you down.
Man, I used to hate Joe Johnson.
Yeah, you played against him or no?
I didn't play against him, but Penny was my favorite player. He's still my favorite player of all time. Anyway, for the Suns, he put Penny on the bench basically. Man, I never forgave Joe Johnson for that for outplaying Penny. Penny had to go to the bench because Joe Johnson was out there when he was young, just killing.
Just balling. I mean, Joe Johnson had a sweet jumper, man. That jumper of his was really sweet. I guess that's what they say about that killer mentality. I guess he didn't have the killer mentality. He didn't know when to take over games or how to take over games.
I think he just play his role.
Yeah, I mean, some players do that. Some people just have that demeanor, right? Some people are just
he just play his role.
Yeah, even kill. All right, so we know Curry. Curry's great at so many things.
He's great at all what's ever on there. He's great at all of those, like him and Kyrie.
Yeah, him and Kyrie. Kyrie, I don't know about Kyrie's defense. I mean, a lot of people say he don't play defense because he don't get no steals. He doesn't average a lot of steals.
He's not liability on the defensive.
Yeah. Nash was obviously a great floor, a general, great shooter. But wasn't a great scorer. But could score. You couldn't leave him open.
He could score if he had to.
You can't leave him
more
open.
of a true point guard.
What about Dame? What do we do about Dame? Dame he can't be important. That's why I tell people this is why the All-Star game, because even if he played in the 80s or the 90s, Dame wouldn't be an All-Star.
How you figure that?
Because it's all about marketing and branding now. He's even with the I know he has his stat, but he would be like English in them.
I don't know. He's marketable today.
But I'm just saying he's marketable. Most players are marketable, but Bernard King would have been marketable, and Luke Skywalker. What's his name? Kenny Skywalker, and English and Mitch Richmond. These guys were great scorers back then and great players. They were not marketable. That's why they didn't make a lot of All-Star games, like Reggie Miller, 5 All-Stars. You know what I'm saying? But this guy has I think 6 or 7 All-Star selections in his career.
But he could score his ass off though.
No, he
And
can.
he
Don't
shoot.
get, yeah, he can shoot. That's what I'm saying. But he's very talented. But I'm saying, but it was the same thing back then when people like Dantley and McAdoo. You know, these guys were all great scorers in those eras, but they weren't considered stars. You understand what I'm trying to say? Like Dame's a star. People know about Dame time. There's even that commercial where he comes out and the guy was telling him, he's like, Dame time must be bogus, because he's like, why do you wait to the end of the game to do Dame time? Like, why wouldn't you do it earlier in the game so you don't have to wait to the end to bring your team back? And like, we got Havlicek, right? Is that Havlicek? Who's that?
No,
That's not Havlicek.
That's Pistol Pete. That's the only one I can find of him standing
Pistol
up.
Pete played for Boston?
Yeah, like
did?
like late in his career.
How old was he when he passed away? Didn't he pass early?
He was like 43, 45.
Oh, so he had a full NBA career. No?
He played like 12, 13 years. He played long enough, I think.
He did?
Yeah.
I thought the thing about him was that he passed away before he
No, he passed away after he retired.
That was like Kobe then. So it's gonna be like how he's like Kobe right after he retired, like similar. Okay. Wow.
How long he played? He played from 71 to 80.
Okay, so that's 10 seasons.
That's 11 years he played.
They played 11 years.
No, it's 10 he played. Yeah. So he retired. His last season was with Boston in 1980. So Bird's first year.
Oh, so that's another top 75 player Bird played with.
Yeah, so it was Bird first year.
But supposedly LeBron had the most help. You know, they don't, like, that's what I be saying. They don't know history, bro. I mean, I didn't even know this. You know, I know Tiny Archibald was on that team.
Yeah, I knew Pistol Pete played one season with Boston, but nice. I didn't know how productive he was. I just know he was like one of the guys on the bench.
All right. So put up the GOAT James statistical ranking again, so we can let them know before we get off who's the greatest statistical player of all time, and it's still adding to his stats. There you go back. There it is, right there, y'all. GOAT James. Are they in that picture? Who's in that picture? Can you see? I had to blur it out. I didn't want to do no copyright infringement. I'm not going to post it, but Bill Walton, boy, that's another bum. Bill Walton averaged like 13, 14 points for his career, man. These guys.
Well, he was dominant until he got hurt those, 4 years?
He has 2 MVPs, years. Right? 2 MVPs, 1 MVP?
I think he got one.
And 1 MVP. So,
yeah.
But yeah, man. So y'all see it there. Number 1, LeBron. 2, Kareem. 3, Jordan, which I think is not a surprise to anybody that those guys are 1, 2, and 3 statistically. But surprisingly, Duncan, Shaq, Magic, Wilt, Bird, Oscar Robinson, the Big O, Russell, Kobe, and then Curry. I'm going to give y'all a special one. I'm going to do it later on today. I'm going to drop the Dr. J one because Dr. J is too much disrespect for Dr. J. He should be on everybody's top 10 list. I don't know how ESPN don't have him on there, but he should be up here too with everybody. And I'm going to put all his statistics, ABA and the NBA statistics and accolades. So you got anything else you want to drop to haters before we go?
I'm all good.
All right. So thank you for joining us. This is GOAT James Kingdom with B. Lee and Ajani. See y'all next Sunday or on our Facebook or TikTok. You guys can subscribe, like, comment, and hit the ring bell so that you guys know when we come on, and look out for our videos as we drop videos throughout the week. So y'all stay blessed and peace to everybody.
All right. See you guys.
All right, man.